what we've seen from Carney so far is bad news for taxpayers, but also for our kids and grandkids, right? Look at his own election platform. He wants to add $225 billion to the debt over the next 4 years, almost $100 billion more than what even Trudeau was planning. You know, the banker was supposed to be better than the drama teacher with the numbers, but the banker's numbers aren't adding up for taxpayers.
Sydney Vizard for Rebel News here in downtown Calgary for the 2025 Teddy Awards. This is an event that's hosted by the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, meant to showcase the most hilarious and the most horrible ways that our government, both federal, municipal, provincial, have wasted Canadians' taxpayer dollars. We spoke with their federal director, Franco Terrazzano, to find out more about how our federal government has been wasting our taxpayer resources. And we spoke to Alberta Director Chris Sims to find out more about the province's wasteful spending and that of the city of Calgary.
This year's Lifetime Achievement Award for Waste goes to... Oh, this is very well deserved. We're gonna miss him. We may never see another one like him. The Wayne Gretzky of waste, Justin Trudeau.
Very well deserved, because he has been wasting our money like crazy for a decade, right? He doubled the debt. He was the Duke of Debt. He was also the Baron of Bureaucracy, right? You're paying for 99,000 more federal bureaucrats today than you were 10 years ago. But there was also some crazy waste from Trudeau, right? Billing Canadians for a $6,000 per night hotel room, or dropping $220,000 on airplane food when Canadians were struggling to afford their own groceries. But then there's just some crazy, silly examples of waste, right? Like Global Affairs Canada spending $51,000 a month on booze, right? They're wasting taxpayers' money faster than anyone can even say bottoms up.
Well, and now obviously we do have a new prime minister. When are we going to start to see how well he manages our taxpayer resources?
Well, we need a budget. Don't we? Yeah, we need a budget. It's kind of hard to know where our national finances are when the government, when Mr. Carney can't even be bothered to put together a budget. But like, look, what we've seen from Carney so far is bad news for taxpayers, but also for our kids and grandkids, right? Look at his own election platform. He wants to add $225 billion to the debt over the next 4 years, almost $100 billion more than what even Trudeau was planning. You know, the banker was supposed to be better than the drama teacher with the numbers, but the banker's numbers aren't adding up for taxpayers.
The government actually spent $100,000 tracking the birth, life, and death of a grocery cart, when it could have just asked this unemployed guy.
There's funny moments here, there's sad moments here, but how do you make it, tangible for the everyday Canadian to be like, okay, well, they're wasting this money, but what does that actually mean for me?
Well, yeah, we try to break the numbers down, right, so that people can understand that this is money that those politicians, those government bureaucrats are taking from their pockets and wasting it. Right? Look, Canadians pay too much tax because the government wastes too much money. And let me just emphasize why we bring in humor. Well, number one, if you don't laugh, you're going to cry, right, with the way they're wasting our money. But number two, politicians can handle outrage. What they hate more than anything else is mockery. And that's why we're mocking the big spending, big taxing politicians and bureaucrats.
Last word to you.
Hey, how about you stop wasting people's money and you cut taxes?
So the winner of the provincial government waste category is... New Brunswick!
We talked about the federal government and the waste that's happening there, but there is also the provincial government, and they do want to run on a conservatively fiscal plan. That's what they're hoping for here. How well are they doing that?
They're not doing it very well. They're running a deficit, right, of more than $5.2 billion. That is not a balanced budget. That is adding a huge amount of money onto the provincial debt. We are spending more money on the interest on the provincial debt than we are on emergency services. It is disgusting the amount we are spending. It's close to $3 billion per year. So yeah, this government is doing an outstanding job standing up to Ottawa, putting through the Taxpayer Protection Act, delivering on their income tax. Those are all awesome. But we have got to run a balanced budget here. They need to do that.
And so what is it that they're spending all this money on?
Well, for example, this evening we had a nomination again from an Alberta arts group that continuously hands out taxpayers' money. Now, art is subjective, of course. It's up to the eye of the beholder. What you like may not be what your neighbor likes. But what's wrong is forcing your neighbor to pay for your art choices. So if you don't want to spend $15,000 to watch a lady hide behind a sheet of paper for 5 minutes, you shouldn't have to spend that. So for example, here in Alberta, they have got to cut the stupid spending on art that a lot of people would choose to not purchase themselves. And we saw it this evening with the winner with the Bow River.
We're gonna play a recording for you, and I promise this is an actual phone call I had with the Bow River.
Thank you so much for calling. Please wait a moment while we connect the Bow River to you.
Do you think that's worth $65,000?
It's ridiculous that we spent more than $60,000 to set up a telephone line so people can pretend to talk to a river. That is an outrageous waste of money, especially considering the fact that Calgary has seen a property tax increase. The mayor is paid more than the premier of the province, and a lot of Calgarians aren't happy with the safety, cleanliness, and repair of their streets.
The winner of the Municipal Government Waste Award is Calgary!
When it comes to the municipality, when it comes to Mayor Jyoti Gondek, how responsible has she been for the city of Calgary?
Not very. So you'd have to ask people, right? Are you happy, again, with what City Hall is doing? Most taxpayers, if you ask them, no matter what municipality you're in, what do you want City Hall to do for you? The answer is almost always keep the streets safe, clean, and in good repair. End of list. That's all they want them to do. They don't want them to save the world. They don't want them to be UN ambassadors to something. They want them to keep their streets safe, clean, and in good repair. They sure as heck don't want them blowing more than $60,000 on a pretend telephone line to a river. To be clear, if an artist truly is inspired by something, for real, they can go get sponsorship. Go find a corporation or a wealthy business person to fund what you're doing. That is how art has been funded from the beginning of time. You've gotten a donor, you've gotten a patron to willingly choose to give you money. Don't come mooching at the government. The term government art should be a contradiction in terms. This is one of those moments where you have to laugh or cry. We know that some of this just isn't really funny. It's gross that taxpayers spent $100,000 to investigate the birth and life of a shopping cart. Like, just saying that out loud feels embarrassing. But you've got to laugh at it because A, otherwise you'll cry. B, the bureaucrats and politicians hate it. Once they get up to that level where they're blowing money like that, they actually think they're pretty hot stuff. They think that they're some sort of landed duke or baron. So if we stick our finger in their eye, metaphorically, and laugh at their absurdity, that really gets to them. Mockery matters, and this is why we do this.
Let me know in the comments what you think. Do you believe that Prime Minister Mark Carney will rein in the spending this Liberal government has grown accustomed to following 10 years of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau? Or do you think that it's just downhill from here? For Rebel News, I'm Sidney Fizard. RebelFieldReports.com is where you have to go if you want to support our independent journalism, on-the-ground coverage of events like this and stories that matter to everyday Canadians. You can find all that at RebelFieldReports.com.